That's as good a reason as that. Just say it's not recommended.
Gary Connell said, I can't have a fishing rod in the beer in Manhattan. He says, I can't.
Oh, well.
And I just called.
See Hunter's Beach.
Whatever was on.
I've been for sale for a long time.
For a while,
You can see Greg there. Hey, Greg. Evening, Greg. Didn't even notice you walking in.
Are you rested after your Saturday?
Yes.
It's hard standing on cement for, maybe not for you, but for, man, my legs are sore.
There's a lot of days, day shows and 12, the day or so, and then the wedding after that, so we're receiving as well.
Oh. Hi, Ashley, how are you? Good.
That's good.
Nice picture of you and Anthony Rhoda and yeah, it's lovely.
Well, next week, and that's the time I'm like going with it. I brought it for you guys just to.
Oh, right. Next week. That was it. Okay.
Sure.
Oh, I.
Coffee, so if you want coffee, I don't know if you want any.
Coffee in the morning, tea in the afternoon, tea in the evening.
Yeah, that's it.
We have any bottled water? No bottled water.
I have Coke.
What?
Go in the photocopier fridge.
That's.
Sorry, is that?
I'm very excited to set a table, so I can sit at the table so she can write.
Sure.
Okay.
Here's paper.
Will you do?
Save it all in case, because usually we've got quite a few staff that come, but it's a shorter meeting tonight. There's not much on the agenda.
Well,
All he knows like fresh coffee.
I'm Carrie. I'm unable to get here during business hours. And I have a report to pick up. Yes. Is it possible for me to pick it up this evening? Or should I get my mom to come and get it during business hours? How much was it again? 7. 15 minutes or
Like, if you have exact, are you paying by cash?
I might be able to. Sometimes we carry cash. Sometimes.
Like, if you have it, I can take it and email you a receipt and then email the document to you.
Yeah, I'll check.
But yeah, like, I can't use the debit unfortunately, but if you had cash, I could do that for you.
Brian, we can follow with you then.
Yeah, yeah. Have a good day.
On minute. Well.
No, if you had, you're gonna bring up under business arising from the minutes, that's correct? Okay.
Okay.
I'll see. It's the 31st, eh?
Thank you.
yeah,
28th,
28th.
all day.
Yes.
We'd like to call this meeting to order, this meeting of May 28th. And like to proceed with the adoption of the agenda, Madam Clerk.
So Steve, not it?
No, sending sentence regrets, yes.
Mover and a seconder, please.
Sure.
Councillor Champagne and Councillor Kelly. The draft agenda presented to council and dated the 28th day of May 2024 be adopted as amended by adding an in-camera section under section 239 2E, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local.
Also solicitor advice. Thank you.
There's in this section.
Excellent.
The same matter?
No, they're different. I just, yes, but they're much the same. I don't disagree, but they're slightly.
So in section F, advice that is subject to solicitor client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose.
Yes, thank you.
We're also amending the agenda.
Oh, my apologies. So by adding in-camera session under section C and F. And then Councillor Kelly has withdrawn his notice of motion and is therefore removed from the agenda.
Very good. All right, so thank you for that, Madam Clerk. Any further changes to the agenda? There being none, all in favor? Carry, thank you so much. Accepting the minutes of the previous meetings.
Over in a second, please. Deputy Mayor Roigers. The minutes of the regular council meeting of May 14th, 2024 be adopted as circulated.
All in favor? Carry. Any business arising from the minutes? Deputy Mayor?
Yes, so I do. We passed our procedural bylaw. And at the last meeting, one of the council members brought up business, new business. And I was under the understanding from the procedural bylaw that we were supposed to bring that up to Carrie before the agenda was set. So Thursday at 4:30 before the meeting. So I just wanted to clarify what that was about, right? Or if I got it wrong.
Certainly, our procedural bylaw is new to us, right? We're only, I can't believe we put it in, you know, when we endorsed it and put it into application. And all of a sudden we had matters that were new to us. And so certainly that is one of them. You're absolutely right, Madam Deputy Clerk. And in that sense, our procedural bylaw is very clear. It encourages us to communicate with the clerk prior to it. To give a specific date of when, just or to advise you prior to the meeting.
So Thursday for the meeting
Okay.
is when the agenda closes.
Okay. And then otherwise, people then, members of council, then at the start, when we are putting forward the agenda, that is an opportunity to bring forward an item that they would like to see under business, and then it needs to be supported. And our procedural bylaw does say unanimously, correct? That this item will be added under other business. So certainly that is what the procedural bylaw does say, and so that is what we will be encouraging definitely as we move forward.
Right.
So it doesn't mean that if any of us have an item that we'd like to bring forward, we just need to make sure that it's part of, we mention it when we put forth the agenda. I did want to comment on, it does raise for me one issue, and that's we do attend conferences. And we don't have a formal spot to report on conferences. So for example, I had encouraged us under chair's comments, you know, that I would share chair's comments so that we could report on conferences. But upon reflection, I was thinking that maybe we should ask our clerk to give it some thought. Where should it be on the agenda? And we could have like a placeholder. And at every meeting, if there's anyone that's been to a meeting or a conference, that could be, so we don't have to amend the agenda, so that could be the opportunity. It is important to report on conferences, and so it's something we don't want to pass over. So with your permission, I don't think we just need to provide a direction to our clerk to see if she could come back with maybe a recommendation in terms of how that might fit in with our agenda, procedural bylaw.
Okay.
Any further comments? I'm sorry. Declarations of conflict of interest. There being none. Chair's comments. We do have a few comments that we'd like to make. The first one, I'd like to ask our CEO to mention the property tax information.
Yes, so Mayor Rochford, I left council members a copy of our tax pamphlet for 2024. It will be included as an insert with the final tax bills that go out next week.
Okay.
Doesn't leave a big amount to put in the bank, does it? Doesn't leave a big amount to put in the bank.
No, not at all.
Are we the little sliver, green sliver that's left?
Yeah.
That's good, because people didn't realize too that, they think we take in 100% of the dollars. We don't. People have to understand that, a 1% increase is only like $58,000. So you don't do much with $58,000 anymore.
Well, if you look at it, if I may, Mayor Rochford, the biggest piece of the pie goes to DSAB at 18%. So 18% of our budget is DSAB. Right? Second one's education, 15%. So when you look at the combined between the two of them, you're over 20% of what's taxed to the taxpayer gone, right? So
Then you got your.
actually, sorry, it's over 30%.
Yep. No, that's good. Nice to see that.
Just on the list.
So, Bob? And also, we should mention the trade show that was held on the weekend. I know there will be a formal report that will be coming to council, so we'll have an opportunity to discuss it in length, but just to say, it's a great event. I mean, I was happy for rain. We did miss this year, I think, the mail out to each of the homes. And so in the morning early, the traffic was light, but when the rain came, we saw an increase in people. So I thank, you don't often say thank you, but on that day, I certainly did. And but I think it's a wonderful event. We had great participation, and there were so many positive elements to the day. So I look forward to the formal report coming to the council. Any other comments under chair's comments before? We don't have any delegations to council. Committee reports, Public Works and Infrastructure Committee, Councillor Champagne.
Yeah, we did talk about the minutes of the last meeting, should be on the agenda, but they started doing the culvert over on Lake Nosmonson Road yesterday. Hopefully completion, figure 2 weeks and get it completely done. They started on McPherson Drive also for the widening of the shoulders. They started that about a week ago. Pioneer got the contract, so that's all underway. I know there's a lot of potholes in that right now, a little short-handed, but the boys are doing what they can with what we have right now. So again, the rain doesn't help any neither. So if you get a maintenance program or grader program that you're going to go on Wednesday and it rains for 2 days, it's kind of hard to get out there and do it. So they're doing what they can, and we've got the odd complaint, but not as much as.
There's a lot of excitement about the first red light in.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the one at the corner of Highway 94 and 17, but the official one that's in East Fair has caused quite a bit of commotion.
Yeah.
Any further comments? Deputy Mayor? No, c'est bon. Okay. Emergency management, I think there's an upcoming meeting, is that correct? The next, or this week or?
More we have a
Fire and emergency.
and
Okay.
emergency services committee.
It was very good to see the booth as well, the trade show for fire and emergency services, and I thought that was well done. Planning Advisory Committee, any comments? Yeah,
I've got one or two, yes. As you can see, there's only 3 or 4 applications and everything went through. There was some questions being asked about some of the development, and I'd like to wait till we have a full council. And I think it'd be time to, not only for council, but I think the general public and the new people we have on board on the planning committee to better understand where council's coming from when it comes to the planning and adjustment.
okay.
Because we're looking at new development, or we're looking at ongoing development. And there were a couple of issues come up that I think need clarification.
All right.
There's nothing major, just clarification, but I think all council should be involved. So we'll probably hold it up, probably September. Thank you. In the
Today,
meantime, we had, as I say, it's pretty self-explanatory. And there was one that went through for 13 new lots, and that's adjacent to Corbeil. So.
today they reported that in the news that the province of Ontario and the federal government had reached an agreement for housing at I guess the divisions of funds or so that I think that will be hoping that will be positive for us as we did make presentations and make requests.
Does that mean we qualify now or will qualify?
We don't know. We've certainly have put our foot forward, right? So sorry. Well, it's a good expression, right? We have made the step. So we put our foot forward, as I said, to see if we might qualify. And so we have done a couple of presentations. So hopefully at our last presentation with the Ministry of Housing, will recall they had said that they thought we had a good
As long as the numbers are there, if we get new bills, and numbers up and apply hopefully for some fun. Maybe a fire. Other things,
That'd be nice.
but maybe get it, like, yeah, we should pass the. I know they're listening.
And I certainly, our school as well, the old property in Asphodel for the development of, affordable housing. I mean, that certainly is at play as well, in what we've brought forward. So yes, our fingers crossed.
And also, if I may, Mayor Rossford, I had a meeting with DSAP today. They have a new project development manager in the housing division.
Okay.
So I had a meeting with him today as well as the manager of housing for DSAP and stressed the priority of the former school that needs to be developed. And I'm being told it's been on the radar for quite some time for them. I said it's fine to be on the radar, but we need to see some action to get something done with that. So I said for our community, that's the number one priority right now to get some housing funding for. So
Mhm.
they did speak about the expression of interest that closed. They had quite a few applicants as well, but they're at the point right now of going through those expression of interest, and their new person, Madam, is the one that's gonna be going through them to see what opportunities exist for the area and what DSAP can do, so.
Good. Excellent. So, thank you. And that's good that you had those meetings, Mr. President. Okay, so any further comments, questions? No? Recreation Parks and Culture Committee, there. July, we meet,
The
yes.
next meeting.
Striking Committee, no. Library Board, any comments? No, okay. OPP Detachment Board, none at all as well, but you are representing our municipality at an upcoming conference, Madam Clerk?
Yes, COA PSD conference from June 2nd to 5th.
Okay, very good, thank
Looking
you.
forward to it.
Yeah, we look forward to your report. Yeah. So, any comments related to Cancer Home DSAB Health Unit, North Bay Mattawa Conservation Authority? Wait, Councilor Kelly.
Yes, DSAP has just announced a new program that assists with affordable housing. It's a $50,000 loan for either a housing addition or a new dwelling on the property as a second dwelling, and if it's affordable. So, and I think the CEO will be privy to some of the details on it. And there was, I believe it was over $500,000 for the side for that. $50,000 per project if they qualify. So I think the details are in the weeds, but it was announced at the last DSAP meeting, which is just week last week.
What I'm being told is they've set aside funds to approve 2 applications per municipality.
Right, okay. Yeah, I know there were limitations. I wasn't sure exactly. It wasn't announced what they were, but I think it was $50,000 for giving the loan, but I'm not mistaken.
I didn't get any
For project.
details. They just said there was a new program
Okay.
and they've set aside to do approvals of 2 per community.
So once we get the details, it'll be interesting to advertise.
Yes, precisely. I know Deputy Mayor had her hand up as well, but I think that we should conclude with discussion on communication. Yeah.
I was just wondering if who who can apply for this? Is it, can the Villa Board apply for it, or is it just for individual homes?
Even more so, yeah, the focus is on individual homes, absolutely. But may certainly, I think it'd be important to communicate it to our residents, either in our, and we'll leave it to you to consider how best to do that.
So DSAP did release a media
Yeah.
release today, so that we can use that to communicate it to the residents. I will forward to council as well.
Okay.
So we have it.
Great. Okay.
Any further comments? With Councillor Champagne?
Yeah, just as far as the health unit goes, I've been getting some phone calls lately about for the well water testing through the province. There's been enough news in the last month that Mr. Jones is basically saying it's still going to be free and it's still going to be happening. I think what the thing that's going to be cut down is going to be probably where they're going to water.
Number of sites.
Number of sites going to get closed down. So again, maybe we should be thinking about maybe at the next meeting, maybe getting a motion sent to the ministry. Thank you for, keeping that avenue open, but what can we do to help to continue improving access and the service? All these water testings, even if they drop them off here, where can they go, right? The health field's got nothing to do with it. It's just a drop-off center. That's all it is. And people think it's the health field, but it's not.
Would you be able to maybe put just a few words down?
Yep.
We could structure the motion. I think it's a very important one.
Yeah, I dropped one up today and I sent it over to the CEO from Calvin Township.
Okay,
And I'll do the same and have it prepared for the next meeting.
right, very good, yes. There being no further reports, we'll move to departmental reports and resolutions. And we'll call on Mr. Curtin.
So this is follow-up on the file that the council knew as well, and we've discussed this a handful of times. The last meeting, I believe was probably around February, maybe January, and at the time, council gave direction to staff to discuss with the adjacent property owner to try to mediate a solution. And one of them is with us today, Kathy Guppy, the owner of 73 South Shore. So we got to a point where has agreed upon what they see, you know, to see as a solution that works for everyone. And as staff, we're on board with the solution as well. There are a couple of minor complications that I'll get into. But with regards to the solution, there's two diagrams that were attached, or two drawings that were attached to the agenda. And those give an overview of essentially where the new proposed property boundary would be. It's been slightly modified to better accommodate two dogs. And then the second one shows the boathouse that the owners of the Parger property are looking to install. So you'll notice on the one, there are hash marks outlined in a previous proposed dock location. So that was not in line with what either property owner had in mind, and the darker outline is the solution that better fit both of their needs. So Mr. Trottier and I were out today actually taking another look at the property, just double checking, making sure that everything kind of looks as it should. And this solution does work. So it's a really difficult property, just with the way the shoreline runs and the way the marsh area runs along the westerly edge. So the one thing we were a bit concerned about was the adjacent property to the east of the Canadian property. And after looking outside as well as doing some measurements in our GIS, there is ample room in between where their dock would be and their proposed dock location is on the sketch. So I don't have any concerns there. The one complication is that our zoning bylaw says that the location of a dock shouldn't cross a property line if it were to be projected into the water. So with Mr. Kennedy's property, the way the lot lines come in towards each other, they would meet very close to shore. So essentially it makes it impossible to place a dock in that location without getting an exemption for a zoning bylaw. So my suggestion for moving forward would be that if council is generally supportive of this proposal that they've agreed upon, that staff go ahead and prepare a minor variance application while the municipality still owns this land, and then we address the deficiencies before either person purchases the land. That way we know for sure, and they know for sure, that everyone is able to do what they want to do with the land before we finalize the bylaw, before we finalize the survey. So I guess what I'm looking for is some judgment from council to go ahead and prepare this minor variance if you support this general plan.
Councilor Champagne?
Yeah, I'm glad to see the map. That's really, really good. I'm glad you're also here today. So hopefully everybody's on, this has been going on for a little bit. And I've always said, I'd like to see something on paper and then we can actually see the lines, which is nice. So I guess at the end of the day is providing both parties are okay with it and we go ahead. I don't see a problem. Get this done sooner than later, then it's done with and completed.
Deputy Mayor?
What about the property beside the Kennedys? Do they mind the dock being out past their property line, or are they?
So it does go in front of them, but we haven't spoken with them. There would be no So there'd be nothing right now, where they would be involved, however, through the minor variance process, they'll be circulating the application. So they would become aware of that setback request, and, if there were any issues, they would be advised in the meeting, they'd be able to attend the committee of adjustment. From my understanding, Kennedy has spoken with them often, and everything seems to be fine. But they will be notified in the minor variance process.
Based on our site visit today, I'm not, there seems to only be one solution.
Yeah.
And the property to the east of Mr. Kennedy, that house is very high as well. It comes down to the water. You're not looking out your front window and seeing exactly a dock there with a boat at it. There's a little structure there. I'm not sure if it's a storage shed or something at the water with stairs that go down, but aside from that, I'm not sure you would have an issue with it.
Okay, and they don't have a dock?
Yes,
They do.
they do, but based on the
Not a name.
configuration, it works.
Okay, okay.
But when Greg brought that up, the fact that there's gonna be a minor variance circulation and they have an opportunity then, I think that solves the issue there, right?
Sure.
It's difficult, anywhere where you have bay that comes in, along the bay, it condenses everything towards the same area. And you end up having docks facing each other, and that's just a byproduct of the shoreline.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
I think it's a reasonable compromise by all parties involved. Just glad to see it getting resolved. Thank you.
That, sufficient, direction, yes? Okay. Siobhan? Thank you. Bylaws, we don't need, so we're going forward with first, second, and third reading of this bylaw?
Yeah, Mr. Curtin maybe just wants to give a brief.
Can you speak to this bylaw, Greg?
Oh,
The conveyance bylaw?
yes, I didn't realize this was right away. I would say there, sorry. Okay, so this bylaw, this probably came before council originally, possibly the end of 2021, early 2022. But this is at the end of Bertha Road, where the entrance to the landfill is. The owner of the property, just beyond the sewage unit, was the survey's carrier, and he has access to the property through the sewage unit access.
Yeah.
And it was a bit problematic with the sewage truck going in and out, and because we had the opportunity to get a turnaround established and get a survey work done through that process. We worked out an arrangement basically where we carved off a small piece that would give them the private driveway access to file that conflict with our landfill and the sewage lagoon. So we finally got to the point where the survey was done and the appraisal of the property was done. So it has dragged on for some time, but this is basically the final step in wrapping up something the council previously approved by resolution or approved in principle. So now that we have the appraisal done, it was appraised between $10,000 and $12,000 estimated value. So in the bylaw, I put a sale value of $11,000 split down the middle, and this would finalize that sale with a private driveway off the end of it.
So, we don't have a map. We must have put this before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's the piece where right at the gate goes to the right,
Yes.
and then carrier keeps going straight to lagoons. They use the original road that was there before to the
So if
The
you're
road
looking at where the driveway towards the lagoons is,
yeah.
this driveway would be to the right of that. So
Okay.
it's a new driveway that would bypass that entrance to the lagoon, just to get the residential access away from the commercial access.
Okay, it's like commercial wide road, that's our road allowance to the road allowance at the back, right? That's still owned by the municipality.
Yes,
It's not owned by carriers.
the road allowance at the back is where the snowmobile trail runs through, that's still owned by the municipality.
Good.
Further questions? Well, so we can proceed with the,
Mover in a second, please. Councillor Champagne and Councillor Kelly. Whereas Council of the Municipality of East Ferris deems it expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw at this session, be it hereby resolved that a bylaw to convey part of lot 19 from section 6, being part 1, plan 36R 15180, Township of East Ferris, District of Nipissing, you're the first, second, and third time, passed on number 2024-22. And that said bylaw will be signed by the mayor and clerk and sealed with the seal of the corporation.
On favor? They don't carry. Thank you so much. We're already at correspondence. Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I don't have anything. Maybe I'm not. I'm gonna let it.
Hang on, we're getting.
I think there's some expertise that in areas that other people can speak to, so I'm just gonna let it roll this time.
Councillor Kelly?
Thank you. I've got G, J, and F. One speaks to the good roads, Belmont together. The other conference coming together, and the other one talks to Enbridge and Phenom. It's both about gas. We're talking about conferences. It came up at the Phenom conference that energy is one of the prime considerations right now because of the growth in Northern Ontario and the growth that's being projected for the next 10 to 15 years. One thing that came out was that they're putting a new turbine in Adam Beck in Niagara Falls. And I know nuclear power is stepping up as well. And I think we have a motion coming up for Enbridge, if I'm not mistaken.
And I just want to read the letter that we hear because I find it's a good letter. And thank you for bringing that letter forward from Phenom. And we have prepared, and I think it's worthwhile reading it. If the message is a good one. Would that be all right? Do it now, maybe? Yeah. And then we'll put forward the resolution. It's about securing access to natural gas for Ontario's future. And basically it's to support the rate rebasing application phase through Enbridge. But the municipality of East Ferris applauds the work the government of Ontario has done to continue to advance access to affordable energy and propel economic growth, including a natural gas expansion program and keeping energy costs down. The municipality of East Ferris supports a measured approach to Ontario's energy transition, one that leverages existing natural gas infrastructure and invests in lower carbon alternatives such as renewable natural gas and hydrogen, in addition to building incremental electricity supply. An integrated approach to Ontario's energy transition, where pipes and wires work together, will ensure Ontario maintains an energy system that is resilient and cost-effective while supporting the province's decarbonization efforts. Sorry for that. The municipality of East Ferris recognizes that growing communities and new developments have growing energy needs to support housing developments, new businesses, community centers, hospitals, schools, greenhouses, grain dryers, and industrial parks. And all Ontarians benefit from this growth. Municipalities are planning for immense future growth and need assurance that affordable, resilient natural gas will be available to support economic and community development. This energy certainly is crucial and is preserving customer choice. Natural gas meets 40% of Ontario's energy needs, plays a critical role in Ontario's energy evolution, and supports the reliability of Ontario's electricity system. We would like to ensure that hearings like this represent municipal voices and priorities. That's the for Enbridge process to rebase for their application. That's in support of that. We would like to ensure that hearings like this represent municipal voices and priorities like our own on the need for natural gas and natural gas infrastructure to support the province's diversified energy mix. So that's our letter we would be sending out in support. So I felt that it's a good letter as it recognizes the direction of our province with the development of energy, of electricity. And so it positions natural gas in that evolution.
Just a couple of comments. One is when they put the new school in Asheville, they made it convertible to natural gas. Natural gas lines come through just before the entrance to number 11 highway on Nosbonsing Road. And we were hoping they made a number of applications for natural gas to the municipality. And it'd be, quite frankly, in the heart of Asheville. Not the outlying areas as such because it's too expensive, but to foster not only what we have, but future business and industries coming into the municipalities. hasn't been successful so far. We really don't know why, but if this is in support of it and it's clean energy and we have a lot of it, Canada has a lot of energy that was untapped, quite frankly. Natural gas being one of them.
We have a resolution. We'll table the, I shouldn't have maybe read the letter, I apologize. I should have, let's table the resolution and then we'll, so I think it outlines what the resolution and then we'll open it up for discussion.
Councillor Champagne and Kelly. That Council of Municipalities Paris supports the letter received from the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities regarding Enbridge Gas Inc.'s rate rebasing application. And further, that a letter of comment signed by the mayor on behalf of council be sent to the Ontario Energy Board. And further, that this letter be sent to Premier Doug Ford, Minister of Energy Todd Smith, AMO President Colin Best, and Enbridge Gas.
So that's also the GRA and also our MPP. So on that note, any comments with Deputy Mayor?
So I don't agree with the letter. So when I've been doing my research about energy and I've been thinking about it since Phenom, is that this Bill 165, Keeping Energy Costs Down Act, is in response to Ontario Energy Board decision that actually was against Enbridge. Because they said that Enbridge was over forecasting. There is a plan to decarbonize the grid, and natural gas is not decarbonizing the grid. It actually will increase emissions, and IESO has projected with natural gas, it's going to increase emissions by 375 to 600%, which means we're going in the wrong direction for decreasing our emissions. So, and Enbridge or the Ontario Energy Board also talked about like they're expanding. We're supposed to be decarbonizing. And so they're going to be increasing expansion and it's going to be covered by the customers and it's going to be covered by the customers for over 40 years. And we're going to be decarbonizing by 2050. So suddenly we've got 40 years to 2064, we will be still paying for this expansion and we should be decarbonized by the energy grid by 2050. So they're going to still be paying for this. And they talked about stranded assets. So you've got the natural gas pipes going to be sitting out there that won't be useful any longer. So, and the Bill 165, Keeping Energy Down, or Keeping Energy Costs Down Act is actually going to allow the government to intervene on the with the Ontario Energy Board. So this Ontario Energy Board is now, it is our regulator and it acts independently and it won't. So I don't agree with the letter. I don't agree with the direction. I think there's other things we need to do. And I get it. We are going into, and our energy grid is not going to meet the needs of growth. We talked about that mayor who's talked at Phenom. They're having energy issues there. They're having to go to a cooperative called Lakeland Power to actually power their industrial expanse and 26 homes. And when she was talking about wanting to get there's many modular nuclear reactors, which are inexpensive. She was trying to get that into her area, but there was NIMBYism about that, not about development, but about the mini nukes. Anyways, so when I've been looking at this and reading it, I couldn't support it. So that's my research that I've been doing.
That's very informative. So the mayor at a particular meeting, the issue was not on, it was people were saying not in my backyard. The issue was related to the mini nuclear reactors. That was the issue.
That's right. Yeah. So when I phoned her up because I remember, we had that discussion and I thought that wasn't, the discussion we had at council wasn't what I recall her saying. So I actually talked to her, Anne, Dermot, I think is her name. She's the mayor of Sagan. And so they had planned this development 5 years ago. And then Ontario Hydro came in and said, you don't have enough power for it. So she was talking about, can we build lines, which is unreasonable. And they're going, that's the only way you're going to get power there. So there is a cooperative that is close by, this Lakeland Power, and that's where they're negotiating with them to get power for their expansion. So one more little thing that I've reached is that Quebec Hydro has always been in a surplus. By 2026, it's going to be neutral and then going into a deficit. So Quebec, when I was reading, it was the Financial Post, July 20th, 2023. Quebec has to actually limit industrial expansion because it doesn't have enough power to meet the needs. So it's a big issue. So it's something that.
Yes, and why, if this is a transition solution, why you would not be in support of it?
Because it's hard. I get it. I get that we need natural gas, but it also is, if we put in this expansion, is that money that could be spent otherwise on other infrastructure, like small nuclear reactors or mini nuclear reactors. And Chalk River and Pickering are testing those out right now. So I get it. All the indication is we'll need natural gas because the growth is going like this and nuclear is going like this, and we need something in there until the nuclear reactors at Darlington and Bruce are back online because they're being refurbished now. And that's 2033 to 2035, they'll be back online.
They're not easy solutions, right?
They are not easy.
Province needs housing, needs development. We have a change in terms of vehicles that has developed the whole electric vehicle. So that's ongoing, and we have climate change, and so they're all complicated issues. And so we're very fortunate to have governments that are focused on these particular issues. And in that sense, I guess that's what they want to do, is encourage what's required for a province so that we have solutions as we deal with all these various issues. And but to your point, they're not easy to.
They're not easy. And I guess I just would rather not support Enbridge and Bill 165. That I think if we put pressure, that there should be other issues, right? So back in 2020, there's 30 municipalities that said we need to not have natural gas powered plants, right? So that was a push 4 years ago, and now we're reversing our.
The government has stopped really the support of natural gas to, as we know. I mean, they to some extent, right, in our area, they weren't encouraging it, but now there's a need for solutions, interim solutions. That's it. Okay, so quick comments. We turn it over now to Councillor Kelly.
Sure, I was the moderator for two presentations at the Phenom Conference, one for OPG and one for Ontario Hydro. One produces the power and the other one transmits it. Long story short, they both said the same thing. There's no shortage of power right now in Ontario, and they're looking at doubling the grid in the next 10 to 15 years. Right now, somewhere between 50 and 60% of our power comes from nuclear. A big percentage after that is hydro and natural gas. Very small percentage, unfortunately, is solar and wind. It's below, I believe it's something like 5 or 6% respectively. And that's just a guesstimate, but it's low. Okay, so, but there's 2 or 3 major projects I can mention. One is there's a $26 to $30 billion project going into either Bruce area or Ignace. That it's a deep geological repository. And that's going to be a warehouse for spent nuclear fuel that will be reused probably another 100 years. Because it's a repository, not a depository, big difference. So it's basically a warehouse. Because the more the fuel rod you use, the more expensive it is to utilize. And we have a lot of fuel, nuclear fuel. The other thing is, I believe the Ontario government is just I think they just opened up, or they're talking about putting in a $2.2 billion new gas-fired electric plant in southern Ontario. I'm not sure of the location, but that came out through the Ontario Clean Air Alliance that is dead against it, but it was announced by the Ford government about 2 or 3 months ago, if I'm not mistaken. The other thing is, there's a shortage of houses. There's a shortage of industry as well, and we've got a huge ring of fire projects coming in northern Ontario, and we need energy incessant. So the government wouldn't be putting this in this nuclear waste, which I've been a part of for the last 10 to 12 years. They wouldn't be looking at these projects, and they're coming close to declaring the site in the next year if there wasn't energy available. So there will be energy available. As far as your small nuclear reactors, they're past the experimental stage, and they're about to decide. There's a number of large corporations that are going to be manufacturing them, and they're deciding in the next years of who's going to be getting the contracts for them. But they're still in the experimental stage still, but they are small nuclear reactors are going to be a huge difference maker in these small isolated communities, mines, indigenous. So there's a lot going on in the energy sector, but I got it from 2 or 3 of the directors I was talking to, both Ontario Hydro and OPG, because I had a chance to talk to them privately. And there's no shortage of electricity right now, but the needs are growing exponentially and the plans are growing steadily. Thank you.
Councillor Champagne?
I think a lot of this is beyond our pay grade.
Right.
I think what happens is we got to look at what's good for our municipality right now. And I agree with you saying, Terry, but we have to look after what we have and what's affordable for us right now and what is good for us right now. That's what you got to look at. And again, this is the way beyond, like, things could change. We all know that the power grid can't sustain all these electric vehicles. At some point, everything's got to change. Look at California. They're telling people to turn off their air conditioners because there's enough power to go around, but you can plug in your vehicles. It's a big jump, but we got to look at what's good for the municipality for now, for the next 5 or 10 years. Anything beyond that, things change, life changes. I don't know, but I mean, we've been fighting for gas for so many years. Look at Arena, look at the businesses in Astorville. They need help now, not in 2040. So that's just, again, my opinion, right? So.
We have I get it. You'd have to figure this out, but I'm gonna be dead, right? By the time this,
Well, I'll be gone.
my kids are going to be having to deal with this, and my grandchildren are gonna have to be dealing with this. So these decisions now, I get that we make it now, but and I know this is gonna go through anyways, and that's fine, but I just sort of voice my concern about it.
I know exactly what you're saying. All I'm saying is that it's beyond us right now. And at the end of the day, we got to think of what's good for us. Like we're elected officials to make it better for our municipality today. And I know it's the long run, but things change every 5 years. Something changes and it changes. It's part of life.
I do want to see it before we vote. We were all at the start of the term. They said we should all have a specific responsibility, and you indirectly ended up picking up electricity as an area of focus. And I'd like to congratulate you for spending time. And I think that that's been very good that you're doing that.
I'm not an expert and just right and trying to figure stuff out. Not saying I'm right, but that's what I've been writing, so.
So we have the resolution, all in favor? Oh, Carrie, thank you so much. A good discussion. You also had this is the the item, the other item is combining Roma and UGRE.
You read the letter, but it's not quite what we asked for in the first place. All we're saying is that if you're gonna have one or two conferences, have it with AMO. Why do you want it different? It's AMO. Doesn't matter if you call it Roma, it's still AMO.
Yeah.
So have that conference together instead of OGRA and Roma. It just, but what the municipalities are looking for is a cost saving. So going to three of them, go to two of them. They're the same thing, the same umbrella, same staff, same everything, so. It's kind of disturbing the way they wrote back the letter saying, well, we do good, well, you've got 2,000 delegates, but that's only 1,200, it's 800 staff and.
I think it's rain.
It's raining.
It's raining. Good rain, yes.
But again, like I say, if they want a letter, they should answer the letter, say, okay, yeah, we do agree, but we did say in our letter, well, maybe we should join forces with AMO and stay with AMO. One conference every year.
Wait, absolutely. Right. Councillor Kelly?
No, not only that, it's a dangerous time of the year to drive.
Yes, that's true.
You know, if you're not down to a conference, you're coming home or going down in a blizzard, or there's freezing rain, I mean, weather's all over the map, so, and you got staff and counselors attending.
Yeah.
You don't want to miss out on advancements and so forth, but it's costly. Nothing's cheap, let's face it, so. To combine, you're right on all counts. Yep. So anyway, I know the weather is a little bit wonky, but I'm for, we used to go to the one conference in the winter. And it was, to me, it made sense. And it encompassed 2 or 3 different groups and it was great.
So should we write again then? If they didn't get it right?
We should rewrite it the way it should be. If you don't agree, if you don't want to do it with OGRA, then stay with AMO.
Yeah.
Have that conference.
And do we boycott in future Roma?
I don't want to boycott because we want a voice there, in my opinion.
But the thing is, you're looking at two different, you got the rural municipalities, what happens is you got OGRA, which is basically roads, okay? And you still need that concept, but then the rural municipalities, the smaller municipalities where the ministers are one-on-one. AMO, it's hard to, because the ministers are from Toronto, a lot of them can't make it to AMO. And they're in there and they fly back out and they're there for quickly, that's it. You won't get the opportunity. Well, if you're gonna do that, keep it together. Have AMO somewhere else, have it in Toronto, have it wherever. Move around like they're doing, like the traveling show. It's just a money maker is all it is for them. And at the end of the day, that's all it is.
Then we should rewrite that.
I would.
I think so, yeah.
And we would like, do we need a resolution of support saying that,
We'll have to rewrite the letter completely, say, listen,
Yeah, we can bring it to the next.
yeah, if you don't, like, again, it's just gonna be basically, if you don't like the idea of OGR, then you should stay with AMO and have that one. Yeah, in my opinion.
anything else?
No, that's it.
Councillor Champagne?
The only one I had was, E,
E?
yeah.
E like I?
Yeah. North Bay Conservation Authority.
Oh, okay. E.
I know this is the budget ending December 31st, but with everything that's going on right now, I know Steve's not here, but what is happening? How they sit financially? What's happening for us? I hear people are quitting and they're leaving. So how is that helping our municipality, or is this an issue that we should be looking into?
We had there had been a discussion, there was, from a staff perspective, they were keeping their ear to the ground to ensure that there would be no impacts on our needs as a municipality. And I have not heard that there has been an impact, but has that changed?
Mayor and council, I would say that's changed at this time. Greg and I have had a discussion about this. We've heard from other municipalities as well as our applications that's gone to the Conservation Authority. We don't receive comments. But that's what's going around, Greg, like maybe add to it.
This past month, this is the first time we received no comments for any application that we received from the Conservation Authority. So our typical process is to circulate all of our planning applications to Conservation Authority, and we've never had, there's the odd time where they may not comment if it's a very minor application, it doesn't have like a relevance to their business. But this time we had 6 applications and then received no comments. And from what I understand, that's like the other 2 operational municipalities as well. So our service is being impacted.
May I ask, how does it prevent us from moving forward? Were comments essential to your work, or were they good to have? How would you describe the comments?
So they're always good to have because it gives the perspective of their specific areas of expertise. That being said, it didn't hold up any of our applications this past meeting. Having been through a lot of similar types of applications in the past, we have a pretty good idea of when there may or may not be an issue based on their regulated area, based on floodplain mapping, based on property topography and septic system. So we understand a lot of the framework that they're working within, but there are specifics that they may miss, and they are legislated to provide this service as one of their category services. And we did just sign new service agreements with them in the past couple of months, and those agreements aren't being met now, so I do think it's still an issue.
So we should put forward a letter. Okay, we go ahead.
Yeah. So on AMO, communication May 16th. On June 14th, there's a Conservation Ontario and AMO will host a webinar on the recent legislative and regulatory changes under the Conservation Authorities Act. Is that something that we should look at? I don't know. So to understand it better, is that relevant here? I don't know.
I think that's through Conservation Ontario. We're talking about our conservation authority here in North Bay.
Right.
With Conservation Ontario, which is an issue that's going on.
Well, this is the Conservation Authorities Act. So is it different?
Staffing issues, internal issues, management.
And I know there's stuff we can't talk about in camera, and I understand that Mr. Councillor Trahan's not here, so it's just the more you hear a person gets, there's the, again, I don't want to say anything wrong, but I'm just saying, are we getting treated right? That's basically at the end of the day for what we're paying for.
So we had suggested that if there, in discussion with Councillor Brown, there had been a discussion that if there would be issues, problems of service, that we were requesting that the Conservation Authority have consultants ready to move in and to do the work they require. I think that was part of his recommendations that he was bringing to the board. I don't know what that is, but I think we need to take action.
We are aware that they've hired a planning consultant
They have
for planning matters, so I'm not sure if there's just a bit of a delay before that kind of activates. In planning before, Greg, there was two staff, I believe, and both staff are not in on the planning side anymore. So if they've got consultants and they're ready to respond to our applications, I'm fine, but I don't think it hurts to send a letter to the Conservation Authority Board saying, we noticed a decrease in services or a lack of response and comments on our applications this month when, we do have an agreement with you guys for services, and we're hopeful that you've got some kind of framework or some plan in place to rectify this so that it's not a long-term issue, right?
Right.
Something along those lines.
So I know was in Montville a couple of meetings ago for discussion. Maybe I should have her come here, ask her directly.
Okay. Yeah. At our next meeting?
Well, what we can do is we can address the letter to the board in Chitra and put the invitation out there that they respond in writing, or that Chitra and a board member comes to council to discuss the situation. Is that okay?
Yes, wait, that is good.
Just one comment, I know there was some significant changes in their procedures and their responsibilities. We got notice about that, but it'd be interesting to see what's transformed, what changes have been made, what would they expect and not expect.
Yes.
Because I know there were some areas that they don't have the direct involvement that they used to have. So just to see, sometimes it's best to look at something after it's been in place for a while, which it has been, and let's assess what it does to our planner and development.
So a presentation might, for that particular reason, might be useful as well. So let's write the letter and request that.
Okay.
Would that be presentation?
Super, that'd be a good idea, I think.
And I mean, and I'm sure you, Mr. Curtin, you do follow webinars that are of importance and you say, yeah. So this matter is more, as Councillor Champagne pointed out, a local issue that's affecting our service. Yes. Okay. Then anything?
Back to Deputy Mayor. Under the act, we have to follow the act. So whatever one that is, we need to know if we're getting covered or not and how we push it, because
With the new Conservation Authorities Act came the service agreements that came to council that's been signed.
Yeah.
And the services that were mandatory as part of their, Conservation Authorities Act are included in the agreements. We're covered by our agreements, correct, right?
Yeah, so they laid it out, so there's some of the, as I said, some of the things changed, the conservation authorities have changed, but they still have their core mandate to comment on source fire protection, septic system, part three, which also saving. And then those are all things that we to receive our comments, it should still, but.
Thank you.
Anything else, Councillor Champagne? Okay, well, I mean, we received a thank you for our annual pledge from the North Bay Regional Health Center. And so is next year our last payment?
The end of this term, 2 more years,
Two more.
2 more years.
Okay, on that note, approval of correspondence.
Over to seconder, please, Deputy Mayor Rogers and Councillor Champagne. The council approved the correspondence and information as circulated with the agenda of May 28th, 2024.
On favor? The bond carried. Thank you so much. Approval of accounts payable.
A seconder, please. Sure. Councillor Kelly and Deputy Mayor Rogers. The council approved the general accounts to the municipality of East Ferris as indicated in the check register dated May 2024 in the amount of $310,416.16.
On favor? The bond. And so we have no other business. We're going to be going in camera. And so, motion for them.
Over to seconder, please. Councillor Champagne, Deputy Mayor Rogers. This meeting proceeds to in-camera session at 5:57 PM under section 239(2) of the Municipal Act in order to address matters pertaining to litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or the board, and advice of the subject to solicitor client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose.
Favor? The bond carries. Thank you so much. And so, for those the members of the public that are present, thank you for being present this evening, and enjoy the rest of your evening. And do come back. We have always lost some citizens.
2 minutes, yeah. Enjoy that.
You know what? It's so long.
Yes.
You could run.
Everybody seems to do that.
Right. Have a good night, Greg.
Yeah.
Are you leaving?
Hi, Craig. Thank you.
Don't go away mad. Don't go away mad.
Wait, on.
Don't go away mad.
No, not.
Just go away.
Well, you've done it about the docs. Social.
Yeah, I'm glad we're finally resolving
No,
that.
it
So
looks really good.
that's been dragging on for.
You'll find out this weekend.
Exactly. Well, it was busy on the long weekend.
Right, it's,
Really busy, so, and they're both used, so.
yeah.
What's nice is people can put the vote in.
They
never sign.
It's not a lot of vote, right?
Oh, no.
Yeah, we were just on today, actually.
They can go on the other side, still use it to access the language. Right. Whereas you can load your boat up or whatever.
We're hoping to get all the signage up and also the kind of final grading and ground